The hunt for the beast continues. Jack leads the big 'uns, or big boys, around the island using a well-worn pig trail. Their destination is the top of the mountain, where Sam and Eric saw the beast. Ralph follows at the end of the line, happy to avoid responsibility for a few minutes. At the sight of fresh pig droppings, Ralph allows the boys to hunt the pig. It's not long before a panicked boar tears out of the bush, shoving Jack to the ground. When it charges straight at Ralph, he coolly lifts his spear and sticks the boar right in the snout. The boar gets away, but Ralph is pleased with himself. In fact, he goes on a bit of an ego trip. Robert starts to muck around, pretending he's the pig and Ralph's the hunter. But the game gets out of hand, and Robert is nearly injured in the frenzied grabbing and jabbing. Even Ralph gets carried away. Poor Robert is terrified, especially when they start chanting and Jack brandishes his knife. Thankfully, no one is seriously hurt, and Ralph gets the hunt for the beast back on track. By now it's late afternoon, and Ralph must decide whether they'll go on or return to Piggy and the little 'uns. Simon volunteers to cross the island and tell Piggy that the others will be late. A brave boy. Although Ralph is clearly the logical one, Jack resents Ralph's leadership and starts to challenge him. Going up the mountain to find the beast soon becomes a matter of pride. Eventually, Ralph, Roger and Jack head up the mountain while all the others return to the shelters. As they approach the summit, Ralph says they're being fools. What are 3 boys armed with sticks going to do against a fierce beast in the dark? What nonsense! So Jack and his ego climb to the top, while Ralph and Roger wait. Soon enough, Jack comes blundering back, terrified of the thing he saw. When all 3 of them head up to take another look, they see something. As they inch nearer, Ralph sees a bulging shape between the rocks and becomes nauseous. Moving closer still, they see an ape-like figure with its head bowed. Is it asleep? Then the wind roars up the mountain, stirring the parachute attached to the figure. It sits up and stares at them with its ruined, horrible face. The 3 boys flee in blind terror, leaving their spears behind. Early the next morning, Ralph tells Piggy about the beast on the mountain. It has black eyes and teeth. Oh, the horror! And worse, it squats near the fire so they can't relight their signal. Jack reminds Ralph that he has a tribe of hunters, but Ralph scoffs. They're just boys armed with sticks. Angered by this, Jack blows the conch and calls a meeting. Not only does Jack lie and call Ralph a coward in front of everyone, but he also calls a vote to sack Ralph as chief. Oh man, is Jack embarrassed when no one raises their hand. Clearly, Ralph still has the group's respect. Humiliated, Jack turns on the group. He's going off by himself. Anyone who wants to hunt and have fun is invited to follow him. No one does. With tears streaming down his face, Jack jumps off the platform and disappears into the jungle. Dramatic much? Piggy takes up the conch and carries on the meeting without Jack. Good riddance. When Simon suggests that they climb the mountain again, his idea is rejected. There's no way they're going to confront the beast for the sake of the signal fire. Piggy has the solution. They'll rebuild the fire on the beach. He's such a practical fellow. So, they get to work gathering fuel for a new fire. Even Piggy helps. Afterwards, Ralph notices how few big 'uns are left on the beach. They've snuck off to join Jack. Oh well, good riddance to them too. Piggy's in such a good mood that he, Sam, and Eric bring armfuls of fruit for a little feast. Replenished by the fruit, Ralph realizes something worrying. Where's Simon gone? No one knows that Simon has retreated to his cave in the jungle. Meanwhile, way down the other end of the beach, Jack rejoices with his new tribe. He declares they'll kill a pig, have a feast, and leave an offering for the beast. At this, the hunters enter the jungle and creep up on a drove of pigs resting in the sun. Jack points to the biggest sow of the lot, laying peacefully with her litter of piglets. The hunters attack. Roger spears one of the piglets and they chase the injured, terrified sow into the forest. When she falls, the boys hurl themselves at her in a violent frenzy, causing her to buck and scream. Jack delivers the final blow with his knife and she collapses. Afterwards, he rubs his bloodied hands over Maurice's face and they reenact the hunt with ghoulish delight. After he casually guts the animal, Jack orders them to raid Ralph's camp for fire. While they steal burning branches, Jack will make a speech. He's going to invite Ralph's group to his feast, luring more followers with the promise of meat. How diabolical! Then, Jack sticks the poor sow's head on a spike as a gruesome offering to the beast. Yuck! Simon witnesses this ugly scene from his little cave. He looks at the sow's bloody head, teeming with flies, and grinning menacingly. It is the Lord of the Flies, and Simon hears its silent warning to run away. Back on the beach, Ralph and Piggy sit by the fire under gathering storm clouds. They're discussing how they'll keep the signal going now that most of the big uns have defected to Jack's camp. Ralph feels like the island is getting worse and worse, and Piggy concludes that it's all Jack's fault. Speak of the devil! Painted figures burst out of the jungle, scaring the little uns and stealing branches from the fire. Jack appears, flanked by 2 minions, and invites everyone to his feast before trotting back to his camp. This prompts Ralph to call a meeting to remind the remaining boys about the importance of the signal fire. Being rescued is more important than running around in face paint and hunting pigs. Isn't it? But Ralph's words seem lame. All they can think about now is succulent roast meat. Meanwhile, Simon is alone in the forest, dehydrated and hallucinating. The Lord of the Flies speaks to him. It calls him a silly little boy and confirms what Simon already knew. The beast is in all of them. That's why things are so bad on the island. Like a schoolmaster, the pig's head continues to scold Simon until he has a fit and falls unconscious. When Simon awakes, it's early evening and thunder booms overhead like a cannon. His nose bled while he was passed out, but he doesn't notice the dried blood on his face. Seemingly on autopilot, Simon staggers up the mountain. When he reaches the summit, he sees the beast, a stinking, rotting corpse, moving up and down at the mercy of its windblown parachute. The beast is harmless, but horrible, and Simon vomits copiously on the rock. Then, he takes the lines and disentangles the parachute, freeing the corpse from its awful dance. Simon's next thought is to tell everyone as soon as possible. Down on the beach, Ralph and Piggy are now the only big uns who haven't defected to Jack's camp. The lure of meat is overwhelming, and it's not long before they trudge towards Jack's feast. When they get there, it's a real party atmosphere. Everyone is there. Jack is even installed on his own throne, surrounded by flowery garlands and piles of food. The giant sow roasts over a fire on a nearby rock, and every boy has a face full of food. Jack orders the cooks to take meat to Ralph and Piggy, so they too can enjoy his bounty. It's not long before Jack makes another grab for power. Who will join his tribe? Now that the boys are enjoying his food and the protection of his hunters, the balance of power has swung violently in Jack's favour. Ralph immediately objects. They voted Ralph as chief, and he has the conch. And what about the signal fire? But those things don't matter in Jack's tribe. They're just going to hunt and have fun. Ralph finds no support among the other boys. Piggy, sensing an evil vibe, warns Ralph to come away. Then the tropical storm breaks. Thunder roars and lightning streaks across the sky in a terrifying display. Jack harnesses the group's hysteria by starting a ritual dance. Even Ralph and Piggy orbit around the outside of the circle, attracted to the group's protective energy. As the chanting and dancing reaches a frenzied climax, a dark figure stumbles out of the jungle. The little ones point to him in terror, and the group closes in on the beast. It's Simon, calling out to them about the dead man on the mountain. But they don't recognise or hear him, and they rip into him with their spears and clubs. Eventually, the group staggers away, leaving Simon's broken body in the sand. Meanwhile, a great wind lifts the parachute on the mountain, carrying the corpse with it. The boys watch in horror as the thing floats low over the trees towards the lagoon. They all scream and run for cover. By midnight, the rain has cleared and the stars have come out. The ocean mirrors the sky as countless phosphorescent critters illuminate the water. As the tide comes in, the tiny creatures surround Simon's body, bathing him in a silver aura. The water gently lifts Simon and carries him out to sea, as if on a moonbeam. Despite the beauty of Simon's silent ocean funeral, what happened to him is still murder. Who will answer for this unspeakable crime? We hope you enjoyed this Schooling Online production. For more easy lessons, check out our other videos.